Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything You Ever Wanted to Know about Innovate for Good 2016. We're going to wait a few more minutes for the rest of the attendees to join the call, and then we will get started. If you have any questions now or throughout the session, you can use the chat function or the question function on your dashboard to ask them, and we'll be monitoring and responding to those throughout the session. Hello to folks who've recently joined the webinar, Everything You Ever Wanted to Know about Innovate for Good 2016. We are just waiting for a few more attendees to join the line, and then we will get started. So sit tight. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything You Ever Wanted to Know about Innovate for Good 2016. This is Sarah Indick. We are going to wait a few more minutes to get started. We have about half of our participants on the call now, so we'll wait a few more minutes for people to get logged in. I sent an email this morning with tips for joining the webinar and rookie move. sent all of you. The link that GoToWebinar had sent me for registration. So if you use the link in my email this morning to log in, you might have noticed that GoToWebinar thinks that your name is Sarah Indick. I am sorry about that. It's fine for you to be on the webinar that way. It's no problem. If you would like GoToMeeting to know that you are you and not me, you just need to exit the meeting and then rejoin using the link that GoToWebinar sent you directly in an email when you registered. But it's no problem either way, so whatever you prefer. Throughout this session, if you have questions or comments, you can use the questions or chat functions in your control panel to communicate with us. The format for today will be a brief presentation and then time for Q&A, but you're welcome to post your questions anytime. Okay, everyone, we are going to get started. Thank you for joining us. This is everything you ever wanted to know about Innovate for Good 2016. My name's Sarah Indick. I work here at Rose Community Foundation. If you're curious about who has joined this call, you are, for the most part, people who are thinking about submitting an idea to Innovate for Good or planning on a submission, or you already have a submission in progress. And that's perfect. You are just the people we hoped would join us. A couple of you are members of the Innovate for Good community review team. You are people who have very generously signed up to help review and score the ideas that end up getting submitted. And we're happy to have you on the call today as well. The information that we're going to present here at the beginning is pretty global, so I think it will probably feel relevant to everyone on the call. But we are going to focus the presentation on providing information to people who are thinking about submitting ideas, because we want to make sure you have all you need to know to get your idea submissions in this month. The deadline to submit an idea is 2 weeks away. It's May 31st, end of the month at noon. We have a team here working on Innovate for Good and helping with this webinar. So I'm Sarah. I project manage Innovate for Good. I'm Jennifer Moe. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today. I'm the Director of Marketing and PR, working closely with Sarah on handling the communications piece of this work.
Good morning, everyone. It's Mark Hockenberg. I am our controller at Rose Community Foundation. And in my role here at the foundation, I take care of our books and our financial statements, and I do work around our financial investments in the market. And but I'm particularly excited to be part of the Innovate for Good committee for 2016. So I really look forward to working with all of you and helping you through the process.
Great. For the purpose of today's webinar, Mark is also controlling this. So here's our outline for today. We're going to give you a quick overview of Innovate for Good, tell you about the timeline, the criteria, important links that you should know about for your submission, and then we're going to have time for Q&A. You are welcome to post questions anytime using the chat box. And if you have questions that are really specific to your project, or you want to kind of chat more offline, my phone number is posted. It's 303-398-7416. You are welcome to give me a call. So what is Innovate for Good? Innovate for Good is Rose Community Foundation's philanthropic challenge. We are looking to find and fund new ideas in our local community that are focused on youth empowerment. People who are doing work to empower youth as agents of change in the community. And the question that we have asked is, what idea could you bring to life to empower youth to make the community better? The important things to pay attention to in that question are, one, what idea could you bring to life? Meaning, if you receive Innovate for Good funding, and Rose Community Foundation will be awarding up to $250,000 in grants and support to the winners, winners receive funds specifically to make their projects happen. So it's not a competition where winners receive a prize for participating. Rather, you receive a prize in order to bring your idea to life, to make it happen. We'll talk a little bit more about the specific criteria in a moment. So who can respond to this question? Who can submit an idea? The truth is almost anyone. We are looking for submitters who fit into one of two categories. The first category is youth submitters. So these are young people ages 13 to 18 who have an idea for a project they can make happen. Youth submitters will be awarded $5,000 and will participate in an innovation accelerator program with training and coaching from experts in youth empowerment that will really help them take their idea to reality. Youth and adult partnerships is our other category, and these are collaborations between youth, same age range, 13 to 18, who are working as partners with adult allies. This could be with an organization like a business or a nonprofit or a government entity, or it could be with individual adult allies. These partnerships could be as few as 2 people, 1 youth and 1 adult partnering, or could be larger groups. But the important thing to note here is that youth and adult partnership submissions must have at least 1 youth on the submitting team and at least 1 adult. That's what makes a partnership. These winners will be awarded between $10,000 and $25,000 depending on what they request, and those funds, just like with the youth winners, will be used to carry out their project. There will be some training and support available for these winners as well.
Okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the timeline. And again, we just encourage you as we work through some of this material to ask those questions or at least keep track of what you're wondering so we can get to it at the end. So right now we are right in the middle of May. And you'll look on the time frame. Sarah mentioned we have 2 weeks left of the program, which truly the deadline to submit your idea is May 31st, the Tuesday at noon. At noon, that link on our website will actually go down, and we won't physically be able to accept any additional applications after that time. During the month of June, we're going to, with our community review team, review all of the ideas that come in. We're hoping for about 200 community review members, but this group of people will review everything that has come in through the month of June. What's going to happen after that is we're going to come up with a list of semifinalists in early July. Once those semifinalists are chosen and announced, they're going to be given the opportunity to submit an additional round of questions. So you'll notice on this timeline, the round 2 questions are going to be focused on how you would actually make your idea happen. More specific information about implementation. It will still be a brief application, but it's going to be our opportunity to get a little bit more information from those semifinalists. After that, more reviewing will take place, and in August, the finalists will be announced. At that point, we'll be working towards our September sort of culmination event where it will entail a pitch night, a live pitch night, and winner selection and a celebration. So as you see, from now through September, this 2016 Innovate for Good will take place. So now we're going to move into the criteria. I'm going to talk about the first 2 criteria, how these projects should be innovative and empowering. So as far as the innovative piece, we're really looking at sort of 2 parts to this. This is a creative or an entrepreneurial project that has a couple of different elements to it. It needs to be specific and focused enough to be easily explained and understood. So it needs to be something that's feasible and easy to sort of market and understand, as you're pitching it, and also ambitious enough to be groundbreaking and inspire a community. Again, keeping in mind our theme of youth empowerment, really thinking about how you can inspire a community as a youth for youth. So that's how we define innovative. Second, our second criteria is that these ideas need to be empowering. So the typical project empowers youth as community leaders in real and meaningful ways. Looking at youth who are doing good in the community. So again, really the focus here is having youth that are inspiring other youth in real and meaningful ways.
Just go back one. Oh. Okay. So our third criteria is poised for impact. These are projects that are ready to act, ready to make a positive difference within a year. And an important thing to note here is that the projects need to make a positive difference for the community, not just for the youth. We fully expect that these projects will be empowering and significant and meaningful experiences in the lives of the youth involved, and we're totally going for that. At the same time, the project has to have a net positive benefit to the community beyond just the youth who are participating. And also of note here, youth need to be working as agents of change in the community, but the topic or the focus of the project does not have to be youth. It could be youth working on an issue related to seniors in the community, or youth working on an issue related to the environment. It also could be a youth empowering project where youth are serving their peers. That's also fine, but it doesn't have to be that. Our fourth criteria is that projects should be just getting started. Yeah, just getting started. So currently in the idea, planning, or pilot stage. We know that there is a lot of really exciting youth empowerment work happening in our community here, and that's fantastic. Innovate for Good is really focused on finding and funding new efforts. So you should be ready to get the project up and running within the next year, but it shouldn't be fully operational already.
And finally, the final two criteria is that the ideas need to be Denver-based and Denver-serving. Now, you see the counties that we've listed in the criteria, and we're really just aiming for something that's designed and implemented to serve one of these Denver counties. And then, of course, last, it's really important that these ideas be consistent with Rose Community Foundation's mission, vision, and anti-discrimination statement. All of these statements at length can be found on our website, and Sarah's going to talk a little bit about the importance of our website coming up, but it's just important that these are consistent with these elements of the core work that we do here at the Foundation.
Okay, so important links. The most important link to remember, and the only one you really need to remember, is rcfdenver.org/IFG for Innovate for Good. You can also get to this page by going to the Rose Community Foundation homepage and navigating on the What We Do menu. When you get to the Innovate for Good page on our website, there's a lot of helpful information for you here. When you are ready to submit your idea, you're going to use that blue button that is sort of on the lower left-hand part of our screen that we're showing right now that says Submit Your Idea. And that will take you to a page I'll show you in a minute. But before then, a couple things that you'll probably find helpful. If you scroll down to the How to Apply section of our webpage, you will find a link to a PDF of all of the idea submission form questions. So if you want to get a sense of what information you'll need to provide to submit your idea, that's a resource that we've created for you. And note, your submission requires both written responses to questions and also a short 1-minute video. We don't mean to intimidate anyone by having this requirement. We really just want a chance to see someone in your team talking about what is compelling about your idea. It should be an unedited video. We are not looking for polish. In fact, If it is too polished, it will likely be booted out for breaking the rules. And the maximum length is only 60 seconds. So just a short statement of why your idea should be selected. Our community review team members who Jen described will be seeing these videos as well as reading your answers to the questions. Another resource that's available to you that's helpful is a document called The Rules, aka Frequently Asked Questions. And there's a lot of detailed information that might be helpful to you. If you have questions that are not covered there, you are welcome to reach out to us directly. And so now let me tell you a little bit about our online submission portal. So if you click on that Submit Your Idea link, this is what you're going to see. This is our reviewer portal. So when you click on this, you've now left the Rose Community Foundation website, and if you are ready to submit your idea, you will click on that light blue login and sign up button to create an account, and that will open up the online submission form for you. Once you have an account, you can save and edit your idea submission anytime this month. Just be sure that you finalize it and submit it by our noon May 31st deadline. We've provided the link directly to this site at the top of this page, but it's a long URL and not the easiest to remember. So if you just remember rcfdenver.org/IFG, you can get back to this page at any time. So that's all the information that we wanted to share, and we're now going to take questions. If you have a question, please post it in the questions box or the chat box, and we will answer them as you post them.
So we have a question from Nancy. Thanks for asking. And Nancy asks, does the grant support providing scholarships or stipends for participating youth? And is there salary for staff?
Good question. Yes. Those are acceptable expenses. We've really tried not to create too many restrictions around what the funds can be used for. So the things that Nancy mentioned, stipends for youth, salary for staff, those are acceptable. You know, you'll want to keep in mind that this is a one-time award. So when you think about paying staff, it's not a permanent solution to needing to pay the people who do the important work, but salaries are an acceptable expense. Let me tell you really quickly what Innovate for Good will not fund. Innovate for Good will not fund fundraising projects, enhancement or expansion of existing programs, capital costs related to buying property, lobbying expenses, projects that would re-grant the funds, debt reduction, projects outside of the 7-county area, and projects that will take longer than 12 months to have an impact. That information is available in that Rules Frequently Asked Questions document I mentioned to you. Looks like we have another question.
Looks like we have a question from Sarah, and Sarah asks if we're going to have a webinar in the afternoon sometime that youth can participate in.
Great question, Sarah. We have wondered about the best ways to reach youth, and we are working with lots of folks who have direct engagement with young people. We're not sure that a webinar is really the best medium for young people. We are recording this one, and we'll make that recording available to anyone who wants it. And I know that you are someone who works directly with youth, so why don't you and I talk offline? If you have youth who you think would be interested in participating in a webinar or even like a face-to-face meeting, I would be happy to arrange that. But we're just not sure that many teens would call into a webinar.
Sarah, Tara asked if you could clarify a bit on what expansion of an already existing program looks like.
Good question, Tara. I think it might be easier to tell you what it doesn't look like. So let me try to answer your question as it's worded. If a program already exists, I'll use Sarah's program as an example, because Sarah, who asked the previous question, she runs a terrific program here in Denver called Present Tense that trains teens to create social good projects in the community. So if Sarah submitted a project to Innovate for Good that was going to take the teens that participate in her program for an overnight retreat and skill building session that would help them do a better job of their social good projects, we would say that sounds like an expansion of an existing program. If Sarah were going to create a new program with different goals, could be related goals for a different group of teens, then that would count as a new program. Tara, I'm not sure if I've given you the information you need, so why don't you send us a chat or a question and let me know if that answers your question or if you need more information. Any other questions? Okay, well, we will hang out on the line here for a few more minutes. If people think of more questions, please ask them. We're here to help. If you don't have any more questions and you have the information you need, then we'll just say thank you very much for joining us. You are welcome to call or email anytime as you get your idea submission together. We're here to help. We're happy to talk through your project with you.
Another question?
Oh, good. One more question.
Yeah. So before you go, Nancy asked a question, and she just asked if we have any current grantees in Westminster.
Nancy, that's a good question. We are probably not the best people here to answer it. We can tell you that the 2015 Innovate for Good winners are not working in Westminster, but Rose Community Foundation as a whole, I'm sure, has current grantees in Westminster. Oh yes, Westminster is absolutely within the 7-county area. You could apply with a project that would serve a Westminster community.
Okay, here's Tara wrote back in. Thanks, Tara. Just asking for some clarification on the expansion issue. Tara asks, what if, for example, an already existing program of teen leaders wants to launch a citywide campaign on a particular issue with this grant? Is that considered a new project or an expansion?
Good question, Tara. I think that sounds like a new project. It can be an existing group. It just needs to be an existing group doing new work. If you want to talk more about that offline, just give me a call or shoot me an email.
Okay.
Okay, so it looks like we have answered the questions in the queue. We're happy to take more, but we'll also just say thank you and goodbye to folks who have the information they need and are done. And we'll stay on the line for the next few minutes in case additional questions pop up. But we appreciate your joining us. We hope to see your idea submissions over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, we'll make a recording of this session available as well. So if you know folks who wanted to call in but couldn't make it, it will be available for them to watch and listen to.
There we go. Thanks again, Tara. Let's see, does the 60-second video need to be done in one shot, or is some editing acceptable?
Fair question. Some editing is fine if it's pretty minimal. You don't have to get it in one take. That seems like a tall order. What we're just trying to say with the kind of minimal editing requirement is that you don't need a lot of resources or time or money spent on this video. It should really be something that people can shoot and edit from their smartphones if they have them. And we just want to keep it as simple as possible for those who are submitting. But you don't have to get it in one take.
I would just add too, this is Jennifer, that there are some apps. Of course, Instagram has a really great, super easy editing feature on their, in Instagram. But again, to Sarah's point, these are meant to be done on your phone or using some sort of simple app like Instagram and then uploaded as appropriate through the reviewer site.
Looks like we have one more question.
We do have a question from Nancy. As Sarah discussed, there's $250,000 that will be awarded. Nancy asked what the grant limits are for the individual application.
Okay, great. Good question, Nancy. Yes, so the total award pool is up to $250,000 in grants and support. We anticipate that Innovate for Good will definitely make multiple grants. So the specific award amounts for youth submissions are $5,000. For youth submissions, it's not a range, it's just $5,000. So youth submitters should plan a project that they can execute within $5,000 or plan for additional revenue from other sources. Youth and adult partnerships, there's a funding range, and they can request between $10,000 and $25,000. And it really is just up to each project to determine what they need. Once again, it could be that the $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 or $25,000, however much is requested, is the full amount that is needed to carry out the project. That's fine. Or it could be that you have an idea for a project that's going to cost more, and then we'll just ask you to plan for that additional revenue, those additional funds from other sources. Okay, well, it's almost 11 o'clock. We want to be respectful of everyone's time. Thank you all again for joining us on this call. If you have additional questions, please get in touch with us offline. My phone number is 303-398-7416, or you can email me at sindyk@rcsdenver.org. And we look forward to seeing your idea submissions. Bye.